one flip chart and 2 pens. Well, welcome. It was an honor for Mark and the group to ask me to do this. I have missed Rockwell Collins very much. I don't know if they appreciate it or if you appreciate the caliber of people that you're going to be taught by. I'm sharing today that they are an excellent group of resources and people from the lead group throughout the Rockwell Collins Corporation. And I have to give a lot of my credit to them for my experiences through my own career. Mark asked me to talk about some differences that I've seen between healthcare and manufacturing. So I'd like to start there. And then I'd also like to go on to talk about some of the areas that I've had experience to go to classes for and experience other very successful lean corporations within the healthcare industry and what I've learned from them. So I'd love to take credit for every great idea that I share with you today, but I'm going to have to tip my hat to people like Womack and Shook and Rother and Deming. I've just kind of compiled my thoughts and what I think would be a path forward for some of us that are, I don't want to really use the word struggling, but we are all at different maturity levels in our lean journey, and we have obstacles to leap over. So I have a fear of PowerPoint, so I'm going to be walking and using my notes if that's okay. So, does anybody have any questions at first? Anything? Any comments? Okay. If you do, please, I'd like this to be semi-informal. Okay. So if I compare and contrast healthcare and manufacturing, the contrast, we have a living product in healthcare. Okay? It talks back to you. We don't really have much of a warranty program. Haven't quite gotten the numbers around that. And when it comes to using the maintenance manual and the repair manual, our product just kind of falls down on that. So how many of you actually do what your doctor tells you to do? Complete your medication, eat right, exercise. Anybody? Anybody? Oh, one person in the back. So you see, we kind of have a difficult manufacturing, difficult world that we live in because we don't have control over a lot of these things. But we're very much the same. Very much, probably more so the same than you think. We have processes. We have a labor workforce that we rely on to bring value to our product. We have financial responsibilities, we have environmental responsibilities, and we too want to be successful in our industry. We want to be the best. So, when I look back at my time at Rockwell Collins, when I even look farther back to when I was a nurse right out of school, I worked in the medical center in Houston, and I didn't know it then, but I was on the TQM team. And at that, it wasn't, I thought, oh, I'm just quality, I'm trying to, make things better. But I didn't realize that was a stepping stone to where I was going to go. When I look back, these are the things that I think we should focus on. I think that these are some things that I think I can share with you. So, do I have writing utensils, Mark? Right here. And I'll hold this up. So, as I speak today, I'm making one assumption here, okay? The assumption is that we know where we are, right? We know where we are. And then, we all know where we want to be. And just give me some ideas. Where do we want to be? Where do you want to take your company? The answer's in this room. Someone just told me that. Where do we want to be? So we want to be ideal state. Give me a little bit more, something more tangible or more not philosophical. Where do you want to be?
Industry leader.
Industry leader. So you want to be the leader. I want to bring the most value to my customer. Right? That's what lean's all about. It's about the value to the customer. Okay, so we know we want to be there. We want to be around years from now at the top of the charts. We want to be in that top box, is what we call in the healthcare system. So we're here, and we're here. It's this space right here that I want to talk about today. Okay? Because how we get from here to there, is it a straight line? Not always. It may look like this. Okay. And we can't see the future. We can't always figure out how we're going to get there. And we will make mistakes and we will have great successes. But I want to share with you some of the things that I think will help us get there maybe in a more linear way. So, number one, what I've observed, and this is no new news to you, you have to have leadership at all levels support what lean is. Okay? They have to educate themselves. Are there any CEOs, CFOs, high-level executives in this room? I won't make a comment. Okay. They have to be here. They have to be here. We know this. They have to be here. Okay. We have to have them see the lean light. They have to educate themselves. They have to apply lean in a visible way. Okay? I've actually had my CEO tell me, Karna, I want you to scream from the top of the hospital. Do lean. Be productive. Be efficient. And I looked at him and I said, me? You want me to do that? I said, pardon me, but could you do that for me? This is something they cannot delegate. They cannot delegate this to us. We are the practitioners. Okay? They cannot delegate that. So I don't have the perfect words, but they have to do this. They have to coach. And I didn't know this. I don't think we taught this at Rockwell Collins, or I completely missed it. But at Mercy, we talk about the two pillars of lean: respect for people and continuous improvement. And that respect for people means that I care and I value what you bring to the corporation enough that I will put money and energy and time behind your training. I will coach you to the place I want you to be. And to me, that is the most powerful message that a leader can give to you, because they are truly investing in what is there. I mean, how many of us have leaders say, you're my most important asset? Well, match your actions to your words. So, these leaders have to walk and look and smell like me. They have to, and it has to be very visible to everyone else. It can't just be us. You'll read this in a bazillion books, but it's true. It's true. So this is a daunting endeavor to achieve this. But if we start now, we can do it. I've actually seen this in the healthcare environment, and it's breathtaking. When I go to healthcare, we're members of the Healthcare Value Network, which was started by Womack and John Toussaint out of Theta Care in Appleton, Wisconsin. They actually have a lean management system. They live and breathe it. It's amazing. It is, you think you've died and gone to heaven. It's just beautiful. And so I know for healthcare, we often go to non-healthcare corporations to learn. I would recommend that you take your companies to Theta Care in Appleton. Just ask for a tour. It is amazing. I've seen it in action. And I didn't necessarily think we could get there, but you can get there. Another place is the University of Michigan hospitals. They're an academic and a clinical area, and they're out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, also a wonderful place to go. Great resources. So I'm sure that there were moments that they struggled to reach those heights, but they truly are transformed. I couldn't find a lot of nicks in their armor. It was really truly amazing. So this can be attained. So we talked about leadership. We've seen it. We can do it. This is where we usually come short. If you and your company or your facility aren't transformed, we're not at that self-actualization please like I just spoke about at daycare. If we're not there, what does our quest look like? And it usually starts out with something like this. And I'm going to say two comments. I'm going to make two comments, two sentences. And I want you to raise your hand if you've ever heard something like this before. Well, what has lean done for me lately? What's that lean group doing for us? Or, I'm really not sure that we're getting the ROI or the investment back from this. Anybody hear something like this? Raise your hand. I mean, seriously. Okay. Right. So, what do we do to mitigate this when we hear that? When we're put on the spot and we're trying to help the corporation, what do we do? What's that knee-jerk reaction? Do more events. Do more lean events. We're going to get more ROI. We just do them. Just do them. We show our work. We just, put more numbers up. They may not be getting us where we want to go. They may not be aligned with our strategic plan. And what that causes us to look like is what they call in the industry is a cargo cult. And what that means, it's kind of like, it's walking the talk and looking like you're lean, but you're not really. It's kind of like, I don't want to offend anybody, it's kind of like going to church on Sunday and thinking that's what religion is about. It's kind of like going to school but not doing your homework. It's kind of like being in a relationship and just showing up and not really being invested in it. It's kind of faking everybody out, what it is. Cargo cult is you kind of dress like it, you act like it, but it's not really here. So, we have classes, we do verse, we do value streams, we pull metrics, we kill ourselves to guide these groups of 3 to 12 people through this darkness of a value stream map to the light, so that we can try to change their hearts and minds, and we hope for just a little bit of success. And sometimes we accomplish some things and sometimes not, but that is not the essence of lean. That is not the essence of what we want. Don't get me wrong, I'll take a few learners every single day, but that's not the essence of lean, is to do it that way. So, we need to basically stop the madness. Okay? Doing more events is not going to get us to where we want to go. But what I would propose is to do this. Start by educating everyone. If you can't get those leaders convinced of everything I talked about earlier, at least have them convinced that you need to educate everyone. Whether you start educating them on PDSA, or if you use 8-3s, or I think at Rockwell we use the 8-step problem-solving model, because the essence of lean is creating a culture of problem solvers. Because what's the mantra? Everyone, every day, working towards improvement. Well, if everyone doesn't know what to do, how are we ever going to achieve that? So, educate. Create that basic PDSA class. Talk about it as orientation. Talk about it as a mission. Put it into individual performance plans. And tout your successes. Okay? Show where you have had successes. People want to know that. They have to be, not everybody is philosophical and can work in that abstract area of, if I do this, it will come. The good stuff will come. They have to actually see that concrete success. Get in front of your leaders, and this is important. I believe Rockwell's done this very, very well. Mercy Medical Center We have our first strategic plan this year. 152 years of a hospital. This year we have our first strategic plan. So I feel like I'm ahead. So get in front of your leaders and help them to see that line of sight from what they want, right? Because right now we're trying to clear up this area here. What they want, what do we have to do, and that has to flow down to each individual. So each leader, each department, each individual, and they need to know how their goals align. And again, at Rockwell Collins, I don't know if they have time with that, they've done a really good job with this. Because now, where do we do our events? We do our events to meet those business, already determined important areas. If you don't put your lean events to help your corporation meet its goals, you're just doing events. And that is not helpful. You have to put it to those goals that get the company where they want to go. You have to do that. And if you can do that, and you can prioritize, which is what we're doing right now, is actually going through the lead requests and making sure they're matching with what we want to do. And if there's an area that we don't have any events or any kind of process improvement going on, and it's a major area of a goal that we have created, then we go to that department and we say, hey, let's take a look at how do we help you accomplish this goal. Now there's a trick to this. One, it's really hard to argue with someone who comes up to you and says, I'm going to help you get where you want to go. Right? It's really hard to argue with that. Trust me, I will get you to where you want to be. The flip side of that is you have one chance to get it right. So if I go to you, and you put your trust in me and the lean team to help you get your goals and help give you that little sense of lean, you cannot fail. Of course you can, but it'll just be a little more difficult. But take it very seriously because they're putting their trust in you and you've got to deliver. So, educate everyone. And I think you're going to get some classes today. I don't know if Tony is in our audience. Tony Rose is going to do some really good classes. It doesn't have to be, just get them involved, get them exposed. And then get lean interjected into your corporate goals where you can make a difference. I was asked at Mercy, I said, Karna, we want you to find $500,000. I said, no problem. Can I tell you where I want to do next? Well, we want you to go up to the birthplace and do it. Do you know what the budget of the birthplace is? $1 million. How can I do that? I'll be in the supply chain. I'll be in contracts. I'll be somewhere where I can, where the budget is not 50% of the budget. Right? So you've got to align there. So just an example of how this can work is my team was thoroughly, and they were ecstatic. We went out to lunch that day. We did a value stream with the dialysis center up here by the movie theater up here in Council. And we went through a process improvement value stream. We did the future state, ideal state. We finished the complete action item list. And that manager turned to us and said, you know what? This looks like my business plan for next year. I said, yeah, that's how it works. If you ever put those two things together, you do a value stream on those goals, and you do your business plan for next year, and potentially the year after that. It was a wonderful moment. So you get those small successes. So, okay. This is where the hard start. This is the hard part for at least healthcare. The two ideas, or the two examples I gave to you to work on this success. And they will work. I promise. If you haven't done it, I promise these will work. Okay? There's kind of a softer, more difficult venture that we need to discuss. There's still, in general, a disconnect between lean and its benefits. Is lean about cost savings? Is it about resource management? Maybe. Is it about efficiency? Lean, in my interpretation, actually, in my understanding, is that lean is a long-term commitment that doesn't have an immediate payback. Okay? It's a long-term investment. Payback is not always immediate, but it's working to increase our ability to increase the ability to increase capacity and to be adaptable to what's going on here. Because this is not only representative of what goes on within your corporation, but the environment that you're working in. And we cannot predict what that environment is. So we have to be adaptable and flexible. So, if I kind of extrapolate this, if you know where you are and you know your value streams, and you know how they work and how they work together, you know how you know if they're performing well, you've got metrics around it, then you know if this environment changes, what you need to do to still keep your eye and your path forward. If you don't know where you are, so the environment changes and I don't know my value streams, what do I have to do? I lose time because I got to go back and go, oh, what is it that we were doing? I forgot. And now I can do the change. By then, guess where your competitors are? They're already there. So you have to know where you are. So you have to know your value stream. I would believe that this ability to increase capacity or decrease capacity if I need to, and be adaptable is more important than $1 today. Now, your CFOs probably may not believe in that. I'm not going to talk about the time value of money and all that. But the power that you get from being able to adapt to your environment, internal and external, is far greater and a measure of success than $1 today. So, this is my last point. No one's holding fingers up at me back there. Okay. All right. So, in healthcare, and I don't know how many of you here this stage off. In healthcare, we have a very, very scary change that's about to happen. Any healthcare? Where's is it Diane? Oh, there's Dean. We have two healthcare people here. Real scary thing that's going on. Currently, healthcare, hospital, not so much doctors at this time, but it is coming, we are reimbursed, or we get our revenue from insurance companies for the most part, from Medicare and Medicaid. And it's based on the service we provide. Okay? Most of you guys, that's how you're paid. And we provide a service or a product, and you're paid. What is changing, and it started already, it started in 2009. What's happening is we are now going to be outcome-based. We will be reimbursed partially. A pot of money will be kept, say at the Medicare bank, and depending on how your outcomes are, you will get a portion of that, up to 5%. Currently, it gets bigger as the years go on. So what that means is that if I have a patient who has a total hip replacement and everything goes great, I'm going to get reimbursed based on that good outcome. If they have to be readmitted within 30 days, if they get an infection and have to be hospitalized, if that prosthesis cracks, breaks, cement, whatever, and they have to come back in, guess who's covering that? We are. So unless we have good outcomes, we don't get that money. And in fact, it can be a greater cost. So truly, truly now, my picture's down here. Truly now, where does healthcare have to focus? On the total value. A little bit daunting, a little scary. So, what we have to do then is, anybody have any good ideas? Because we're looking for them. We're looking for them. Gotta love the government. So this is the last picture, and actually Womack drew this at our last conference. So, this is going to look like a lot of your corporations. I'm drawing some verticals here. They look like silos, right? They're meant to be. We have finance. We have nursing. We have doctors. We have supply. Okay? Where are our goals usually right now? They're in here. Right? Okay. Where does our value stream flow? Right? And then this is our value, right? This star is the same as this one. That's what we got. Are their eyes focused on this? Will we be successful in outcome-based reimbursement scheme if we're focused like this? We're not getting paid for what a nurse does or what a doctor does or the number of supplies we use. We're getting reimbursed on what the outcome is. So we have to somehow figure out how to bend the verticals, right? Put their focus horizontally as opposed to vertically. How are we going to do that? We all know something. How are we going to do that? Because what does lean do? It looks at the value of the customer, right? It looks at the value, it looks at the stakeholders and the process owners. It looks at all of that. So the answer to healthcare's issue coming up the pipeline is know your value stream. Know where you are today. How many of you are changing to outcome-based? How many of us should look at the total outcome? Yeah? Okay. You should look. You need to look at total outcome because you're going to reduce your costs on warranty repairs and the whole gamut if you truly look at what that total cost of ownership is. Okay? So that's what's set ahead of me in my job that I have taken on about a year ago, is how do we look at the whole? How do we bend the verticals to look at that goal? How do we set our goals to look at outcome-based? So we're not going to get a choice in whether we do or not, because that's how we're going to have to be successful. That's how we're going to make any money. And we're a nonprofit, Mercedes, so how are we going to cover our costs? We have to look at this. We are going to have to change. So, I'm done. I hope I shed a little light on healthcare and kind of Karna's take on the world here, the lean world. But for success, educate everybody in lean. Ensure that you're aligned. Even though that pressure for you isn't there to be outcome-based, take a look at it because I think it's the way of the future. I think that's where we're going to have to go, is look at that total value, that total product. We are all practitioners. Keep practicing, keep learning, and hopefully in another 25 years we're all sitting here in the same room and we're all successful as we are today. So, thank you.
Any questions, Karna?
Yeah, so if you're drawing there with the silos, you have
we have a meeting with our executive leaders, because they're still thinking very much in silos. And so we have, because of the push of reimbursement, we're going to sit back and they've said, because I've yapped a lot and told them, I have an idea. I have an idea. So we are going to sit down and talk about this and make sure that our outcome goal is not, that the corporate goals aren't in a silo, that they somehow pull that entire, those silos together and bend them toward the goal that they have to work together. So we're starting that conversation because our fiscal year ends in June. It starts in July, so we'll be doing this for FY13. So it has to start with a conversation, but the fact that it's driven by money, it kind of bridges that gap between the people that understand process and the people that get money, so it kind of pulls us together that way. Is that interesting?
Have you got buy-in for the Henslows department?
We do have buy-in at the highest level because it's survival. It's survival. Now, these are still the leaders that aren't walking the talk and, come to all the training. I think I only have a 25% success rate of training leaders because they're just so busy. We speak like this. Mercy's a very small hospital, so we really scout each other. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
How are you structured in terms of doing your value streams and the events? You have full-time lead practitioners and been able to get part-time people, whether they're nurse MIA, whether they're also consultant type of
We have. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you ask that how we conduct our lead value stream? What's our support at Mercy? I'm the director. I have 4 employees, a black belt, 3 lean facilitators that have lean training. I will have an open position in a couple of weeks. So check the report or the Mercy website. And we go, currently we are doing training and the events filter through my group. At the end of our value stream mapping class, we just kind of taken that green belt model. They have to do an event to fulfill their check the box on the value stream mapping mentoring, so we give them an event out of there. It again is very difficult because they just want to go do something. And you have to balance going and letting them be successful to doing something that actually aligned with a goal. So we have a lot of discussion about that. So we are building that stable of people. But again, there hasn't been a leadership, the hammer hasn't come down and said, you must. It's just if you choose to take this class, then one of the requirements is this. One last comment on that is we have a bonus structure at Mercy, and if you're in the bonus structure, you must champion a lean activity for next fiscal year. So by the end of this fiscal year, you have to draw it out, and it is prioritized through my group and the COO, and they have to complete it next year. So we're working on that, kind of carrot stick thing. Anything else? Yes.
You talk about education and more education being the key to establishing a culture. I'm assuming you need educating a large majority of the employee base on the lean practice or the lean tools. How have you been able to, what techniques do you do to make sure that the education is actually practically applied when you're doing it to a large amount of
To the large, again, we encourage them, part of our orientation and part of that class is that the expectation is that you go to your unit and that you pick something. You don't tolerate issues. And the leaders are, this is a good thing, we do have process improvement boards on all the units, and we have a sheet of paper where the people that have been to the class, which is everyone, fills out an idea, and it's in a PDSA form. So, you know, what's your idea? What do you think the root cause is? What do you think the quick fix is? And they put them on the board, and the managers are asked, how have you implemented that? You know, have you rewarded your employees on that? And that's about as far as it's been as far as pushing. But the employees know that I can affect my environment by filling this out and working towards that end. So it's through their process improvement boards and use this tool. It's just a problem solving tool. It's a PDSA. It could be, you know, it could be an A3 if you guys use A3s. But it makes them own the problem, have a path to correct it. It talks about piloting it and then what the results are. Most of those people that do a couple of those end up coming to the value stream mapping classes, and we start mentoring them to be facilitators. Up until I came to Mercy Medical Center, Simpler had been the consultant, and I guess, are there any Simpler people here? Any consultants here? I just warn you, if you pull a consultant, make sure you have an exit strategy, or make sure they're teaching your people how to do it. Because the consulting model is that I keep coming and getting money from you. I have no vested interest in building your infrastructure. So just be aware of that. So we're trying to build that infrastructure so that everybody does lean every day. Anything else? Yes?
Is there any unique things that you've seen done to provide performance of drivers for upper management? In other words, we talk about having performance standards set for more middle managers or what about the upper management staff?
We actually have that at Mercy Park. They haven't allowed me into their bonus structure yet, but on their performance evaluation, so just, which does flow into the bonus structure a bit. They have to attend training. They have to attend the value stream mapping training just so they can even understand what's going on. And next year, what we're talking about is that they, like I said, we just had a strategic plan created this year, that as one of their goals, that they have to show how they use lean practices to accomplish their goal. The executive leadership team has started, you know, when someone doesn't meet their goal, the very common statement is, well, have you called the leader? And I think that's progress. Because the leaders are saying, what have you done about your problem? We think this works. Have you done it? So we've actually put the training aspect of it, and then working on for next fiscal year, how do we put that championing the event and using that event in what we do. And they've been receptive to that. That's not very fancy, not very easy.
Karna, is the bonus structure, is that a long-term sustainability approach or is that a short-term?
It will be, yeah, we did not put any results on that at this time. Going forward, again, like I was describing here, you could put results into it, but we're not there yet. That's to come. I didn't want to push it too far. And when we talk about, we're talking about executive leaders, mid-level leaders, it's also in some of our individual performance evaluations to go to the lean training, to have one or two ideas come up and actually be implemented. So we're using it throughout the, unfortunately you have to do that sometimes to get people motivated, or we can get it, change their hearts and minds. Thank you very much. It's been great.